Our next guest is a funny man who took his childhood fantasy of dragons and sorcery and turned it into a podcast starring his wife, Melissa McCarthy. Hildy the Barback and the Lake of Fire is happening now. Please welcome Ben Falcone. Oh, my goodness. Is that Valerian steel? What an ensemble this is you have.
Thank you so much.
Why are you in a costume for a podcast? Does that make any sense?
It does to my wife.
Does it? Does she? I feel like you love this stuff. Does she love it too?
I love it. So I've been playing, I played D&D when you were probably dating.
No.
No.
Not only was I not dating at all, I was also playing Dungeons & Dragons. No, I wasn't even playing Dungeons & Dragons. I remember I have a friend named Kyle who invited me to his house to play Dungeons & Dragons, and the whole time they made me draw their characters. I didn't even get to play. And his mother, we were there the whole afternoon, gave us one glass of water. That's all we had. And so I never went back.
Yeah.
But you went back. A lot, it seems like.
I never left. Yeah, so I love the world. I love dragons and sorcery, and I thought this was a perfect way to do it. So now we're doing this podcast, so it's super fun.
Yeah, and it's you write the whole thing, scripts. You've got some really high-profile talent that you've corralled to be a part of this.
Yes, we do. I mean, we've got, obviously Melissa, Octavia Spencer, Allison Janney, Glenn Close. I mean, it's Joel McHale. We got stuck with him at some point.
Joel loves that sort of thing too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So he was in costume too.
He was. Oh, he is in costume.
We wear costumes as we record.
Do you really?
Yeah, for an audio presentation.
You love wearing costumes.
Yeah.
I came to your house once, and it was a Christmas party.
That's right.
Costumes.
That's right.
For no real reason.
Well, okay, so I do have a theory about costumes that Melissa shares with me, which is that if you're wearing something silly or dumb, that takes the pressure off. Like, if we're both dressed like pickles, we're not like, oh my gosh, I'm nervous to say hi. It's like, hey, cool pickle.
Yeah, there's something to that, right? I think. Yeah. But do you find yourself nervous? Because you don't seem like a guy who's nervous talking to people at a party.
I mean, I can get introverted, so that's why I married an extrovert.
I see.
Yeah.
I heard you guys on with Dax Shepard on his podcast.
That's right.
And you were talking about this poker game that you have.
Yes. By the way, you're invited if you want to ever come.
Well, now I'm invited. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I was not invited until
I was going to do it like 10 minutes ago, and I thought, for sure, he's going to snip that out.
I also want to add that Christmas party was like 9 years ago. We haven't been invited back.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Yeah.
You said on the podcast that you have a special thing you do when new players enter the poker game.
That's right, we do, because, we want new members of the group to feel special.
Okay.
So what I decided is, how can I introduce special guests? And the two words came into my head immediately: fog machine. So anybody who's new, they get to pick the song that they enter to. I think Dax Shepard played recently with us, and so he played Stranglehold. And he came out and he was pumping his fist in the fog machine. And what a great way to say, hey, here's an old friend for a great time.
And so you enter, there's fog, the music is blasting, and then you just sit down and start playing cards?
Right. There's an awkward minute after, for sure. Yeah. Especially because often the smoke alarm goes off. Because it's a very powerful
And the fire department shows up and goes, what the hell are you wearing?
And they're like, why are you guys in costume for this too?
Were you in like the theater club or anything when you were a kid?
Yeah.
You were, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have costumes in your closet ready to go?
Who's asking? Why am I on trial? I mean...
Like, if somebody, if I said to you, like, hey, we're having a costume party later.
I'd be like, it doesn't matter, I'm cool, I got it.
You would have no matter what it was.
I'd probably be pretty close. Like, McCarthy has a whole attic. I call Melissa McCarthy. I could use her last name. She has a whole attic just that's like wigs and all kinds of stuff. Like she could dress as 3 different kinds of Christmas trees.
3 different kinds?
Yeah. Yeah.
There are 3 kinds of Christmas trees?
They're just different fabrics or different lighting ensembles. But yeah, anything you need, we got.
And how old are your daughters now?
17 and 14 now.
And what do they think of their parents?
You know, we walk by in some crazy outfit and they're just like, all right, bye, have a good time.
Are they on board with this stuff or also?
They're not gonna do it.
They're not gonna do it.
But
yeah.
they're like, you do you.
And and maybe I'm getting too far ahead, but do you think when you're very old, you're gonna keep doing this?
Yeah.
Now that's gonna be great. Do your kids watch your, are they involved in your work at all?
Yeah, actually, they're in the podcast. They're coming up in episode 4.
Oh.
Coming up this one coming up.
Oh, okay. So, and they like that? Is that what they want to do too?
The younger one wants to do that, and the older one's like, no, I want to be a scientist. And we're like, science? Really? What about acting?
Yeah. You can always dress up as a scientist.
Yeah.
You don't need to actually be a scientist.
Yes. She's like, no, I'm gonna be a scientist, thanks.
All right. Well, if she wants to disappoint the family, that's her decision. Well, it's great to have you. The podcast is called Hildy the Barback and the Lake of Fire. It premieres Fridays or it's not exclusive. Anywhere you get your podcast. Ben Falcone, everybody. Thank you, Ben. We'll be back with Mark Amber.